This meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person or can do so through our Facebook or YouTube page. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilors, there are no minutes for approval. I'm being joined today by Councilor Gregory De Rosario, Councilor at Large Anna Levy, and myself, Pavel Payano at Large as Chair. We have item 231-22 FY23 supplemental budget school adult education, $1.3 million by Mayor Brian De Pena. Mr. Ianello, are you here to speak on that today?
Yes, councilors, I can just introduce the item to you. As we spoke at our budget meetings, the $1.3 million for the adult education was not funded, and this is to provide funding for the this is a supplemental budget to provide funding for the Adult Learning Center. The funding sources, as you can see in the documents in front of you, $300,000 of the funding source will be an increase that's expected in Medicaid federal revenue from Medicaid reimbursement at the school department. This year we have, we estimated in next year's budget $675,000 because that's what we expected to receive this year. But according to the superintendent, and we did receive in FY22 an additional $300,000, which she indicates they also expect that to be next year. To receive $300,000 more next year. So I'm comfortable with increasing our estimated revenues to $975,000. So that'll provide $300,000, and the remaining $1 million we'll take out of our stabilization reserve fund. And then continuing on in the mayor's memo is a notation that out of that $1 million memo, the school department does have, when we close the books in FY22, the school department has, once they finish paying all their bills, they expect to have approximately $125,000 remaining in the adult education account, which will go back into free cash, which will help fund replenish this money that we're taking. Also, school transportation, busing, the city pays for that. So any balances in the school transportation account come back to the city and get closed into fund balance and turned into free cash. So that's expected to be approximately $200,000. And school building leases are also required to be funded by the city. So any balance in that school building lease account is also expected to be returned to the city. So those turnbacks, if you will, total approximately $500,000. So out of the $1 million that we are going to take, we're hoping to get $500,000 back from the school department. So that's the in a nutshell.
Thank you. I think we're quite informed over this, but just in case, are there any questions from the councilors? If not, is there a motion?
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Thank you, Mr. Ianello. When the city will expect to close the book for flight 2022?
We usually close about the third week in July, so another week after next. Maybe next week we may start, but week after next we'll complete it.
Okay, so everything is going to be completed by...
In another week or so. I think all the final bills were paid, are being paid this week for the prior year. I don't know if all the departments got all their bills in, but this week and next is when we'll make sure everybody got all their bills paid. We gave them instructions to get their invoices paid by a certain date. Some departments always miss that date, so we have to chase them down and make sure they get everything in. Once we're satisfied all the receipts are posted by the treasurer's office and all the departments have processed their year-end bills, we'll close the books, usually the third week in July.
Okay. So practically before the end of this month, we're going to have in place the new budget for 2023.
Actually, we've already posted the budget for departments to start encumbering money for next year, where we're allowed to open up FY23 and keep 22 still open. So that's already happened, but we haven't funded the adult education because we we need this, this appropriation first.
I do the question because a couple of people are calling that when it's gonna be posted on the web, you know, the new budget for 2023 for the city.
The new budget has been posted. All the departments have been notified that they can start putting in their requisitions on FY '23's budget.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Anelo, do we be able to see where that money is going to reflect when it comes back? I mean, coming from the school, I mean, we're going to put the $1 million and we're supposed to get 500,000 back, but when they close out the books, we might be getting 200,000, roughly 250,000. So we'll be able to check those when they come back, or is it?
Well, when we closed the books, when the school, in other words, when we prepared this memo, we looked at those three accounts and looked at what the expected balances would be, and the best guess of the school department at the time. And so when the books are finally closed, after all, the school department should have paid all their school transportation invoices and any adult education expenses and any their final building lease payments if they have any. And once those are processed, and we'll see what the actual balance is in the account. Whatever balance is in these three accounts gets closed to the general fund. Doesn't remain with the school department.
If there are no other questions, there are motion to send to the full council.
Motion to send to a full council for February recommendation.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. Now move on to our next item. Is there a motion? Mr. McCarthy, I see that you're here. For which item are you here for?
I'm here for both.
211 and 212. All right, so is there a motion to take item 211-22?
second,
So there's a motion by Councilor Levy. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. We're taking out of tabled matters, and we are now at 211-22, accepted of funds from the Mass Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development Island Street Improvement Project of a $200,000 grant. Mr. McCarthy, is there any documentation to go along with this grant outside of the letter asking us for it to be put on the agenda?
Yes, there was submitted with that, when I sent it over, the copies of the contract and a breakdown of the expenditures up to this date, and which includes a narrative of the reason why it should have been part of your package. It was sent in June 29th.
So we do not have that. So we just have that one letter.
Okay.
So if we can make some copies. You have it? And I would say, do you have information for also the other item 212 as well?
Yes, I sent you a supplemental, that's the reason I continued last month. I sent you a supplemental list,
Through email?
via email, and I sent it to, also to Teresa, and it was part of your package, your updated package that I received
Just want to double,
2 days ago.
do you have that in your book? No? Okay. All right, well, while we wait for the package, if you'd like to begin your presentation.
Yeah, well, I can provide you the second package as well, which is the grant contract and the resolution. That's my copy. So that's for number 212 of 22. So now I'll be commenting on document 211 of 22, which is the Island Street redevelopment. It's a MassWorks infrastructure grant. The purpose of the grant is to provide infrastructure to public utilities and public infrastructure areas to benefit private redevelopment, and which includes both economic and residential development. In this case, the Island Street project is to redo the Island Street up to including the Ferris Park site and adjacent to the new housing development, which is being constructed at 2240 Island Street. The original contract prices, and you'll see when you receive your package, called for it was a $1.5 million construction project. During the course of the construction, National Grid had to come in and do certain work, and it occurred during the midst of the pandemic. National Grid's work extended over more than a year, and they added certain infrastructure costs that had to be borne as part of the city's project. So we ended up with using money that would have been used at the end of the project to cover that infrastructure, which is to dealing with the electrical utilities set in the street. The cost override, we were then able to go back to the Mass Works Agency, the Department of Economic Development, and request a addendum to that for more funding. We asked for $200,000, which they did appropriate. This money is going to be used for the end of construction projects. This was included in the original bid, but wasn't able to be covered because of the Eversource National Grid costs that we incurred. So this will be with landscaping, final binding coat, amenities, infrastructure, bollards, things of that nature, that the final aspects that really make a project look good. So the grant is for $200,000. It'll extend through the fiscal year 2023. So we anticipate that the money will be expended for the most part this summer to finish the landscaping. Some money will be held off to go back in the spring to make sure that the landscaping has taken place, but that's essentially the purpose of this.
Thank you, McCarthy. My question isn't a question you might be able to answer today, but if you could give us some information later on as to, the work. I'm sure, one of the things that the state asked for is for hire, looking for like diverse individuals to hire. We in the city have our own ordinance around that. I'm interested in seeing who from, like what data you've received, or if you haven't received, can you obtain from the general contractor showing, who from Lawrence has been hired, or even sort of like diversity stats.
I will do that.
All right, thank you. Councilors, are there any other questions?
Yes. Mr.
Councilor
Chair.
Levy?
So you say that we incur $200,000 extra on the project?
So we called MassWorks and said, is there sufficient funding left over in the program to cover the expenditures of that weren't covered? And as part of the cost overruns due to the pandemic, inflation, and the need to extend the project due to the electric company stopping us essentially for almost a year while they were doing infrastructure work in the public way. So those costs, we went back, in the Department of Economic Development Environment was good enough to grant us the $200,000 and give us an extension of 1 year to complete the project. So that's what, yes,
You said that's $200,000.
$200,000.
Okay. So we're going to expend on this fly 2023.
I expect that 99% of this project will be completed by the fall.
By the fall of this year.
The fall of this year. We do have, we're going to have some contingency money you always keep some money in abatement, so if some of the trees die or the grass doesn't grow, or you need to go back in the spring for the landscaping is always, you know, it's subject to the weather, so.
It's going to be
some-
open to the public?
Huh?
Bless you. It's going to be open to the public?
It will. It's part of this is to provide an access and parking for the park area that we currently call Ferris Park. We're still looking to name that park, but that is the old steel yard that's been converted into a nature sanctuary at the end of Island Street.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilors, is there a motion?
Motion to approve and send it to the full council with favor recommendation?
There's a motion to send this to the full council with favor recommendation. It's been seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Councilors, is there a motion to take out item 212-22, acceptance of funds from Mass Development and Finance Agency Site Readiness Program, Merrimack Paper Demolition and Remediation Project, $750,000, by Mr. McCarthy?
Second.
So the motion's been made by Councilor Del Rosario, it's been seconded by Councilor Levy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Director McCarthy, I mean, I think we're aware of the site. And we have the information that you've given to us, which is the grant, essentially the grant agreement. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I just want to say that this is a multi-source project. We're getting money. The initial money that we're using was a MassWorks grant for development along the Riverwalk. We also have a $600,000 grant from the EPA Brownsfield program for remediation. The money that we're talking about now is mass development money. It's the second payment phase from what's called a site readiness program. The purpose of the program is to provide money to take care of particular problem sites that are either affected by environmental issues or topographical issues or different economic reasons why it's not a strong development site. So we've already received $750,000 from a 2020 grant. The second amount of money was approved for 2022, which is the $750,000 in front of you. This money is all dedicated for the demolition process, which we're currently in the process. We've had inspections. I was actually in the site yesterday with a number of the contractors who are bidding on the demolition. So this will be the main primary funding source for the demolition. This is a reimbursement grant, which means that as the demolition proceeds, we'll pay out the demolition in the mass development. We'll return the money. It is also, as part of the site readiness program, there's a resolution as part of this, and that's part of my ask is that the full council approve this resolution. The resolution states that the money that's being given to us and is written into the grant is for purposes of redevelopment and economic development so that we can make this property a feasible, economic, viable, developable product, and that we can develop the project and hopefully improve the situation on Merrimack Street, make the city some money, and overall just improve the situation over there. I think one of the conditions is that if at the end of the day, it's written out in the agreement, if we end up making a certain amount of money, there's some requirements for us to pay the money back for the development, and it's only after all the excess costs. The way it's designed, the mathematics of it, is to make sure that it doesn't cost the city a dime, that this project will all be funded by mass development, but that in the end, if there's any money that's a profit to the city, it'll go back to the program to fund other sites. So that's part of the resolution. And there's a letter from the mayor. This contract right now is on the mayor's desk along with his commitment letter. I do have the original decision, the original contract, which was signed by Mayor Rivera back in 2020 with the same conditions.
Councilors, are there any questions?
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
When we expect like to finish with this?
So it's the bid openings are going to end on the 21st, and we'll be opening the bids July 21st. The mayor is putting together a team to review the bids. We should have selected a contractor by the first week of August. One of the conditions in the agreement is that they have to deploy quickly and work with speed. The purpose of this is to have the building completely demolished down to the ground, the rubble removed, and the site flattened and graded before the winter. Part of the problem with this property is it's a attractive nuisance. It's a site for the homeless, so we want to create a situation where there is no opportunity for the people to reside there over the winter. That's an outdate. What's it really going to take? It's probably going to take a couple of months to demolish the building.
So this is the building that we went to visit
It
not
is.
too long ago. There is two buildings, no?
Yes.
So we're going to
So
demolish
the-
everything,
to
or
be- to
because
be-
what I hear is that
To
like
be
we-
actual true, it's probably several buildings, all joined together, built over many, many years. So it's the structure itself, everything you saw, every building on that site, every portion of it has to come down and be removed.
So we are not going to say, because what I heard before is like we're going to save one of the building.
No,
So everything is going to be demolished.
everything.
So what we are expecting like to have after that and there?
So the EPA money is to finish the testing and remediation. I expect in October, there's another round of environmental funds that'll come available. We're hoping that the testing will show us what condition the property's in. We would like to get this up to a point where the property's developable for a variety of uses. We certainly want to see some commercial development on this site, jobs produced. But we'd like to see this, like, again, it's a very important parcel of land on the river, and I think it's part of the Riverwalk, it's part of Merrimack Street, and I think we want to make sure the highest and best use is done, so we want to make sure it's clean. So the remediation will start after the building's gone. We intentionally, the team of engineers and architects working on the projects intentionally separated into two projects, the demolition, so that we could make sure that's done this year and clean it, so for future, because of the danger of fires, issues and stuff. But the remediation will probably go on through the next year. The goal is by fiscal year 24, that we'll be able to put this up for bid and sell this to a developer, and like to see a project there of some type of mixed-use, commercial, whatever. I think there's a variety of uses that it could be done for.
Well, hopefully we will not take so long like when we have to clean.
Council Levy, I've been with the city for 18 years. When I was here, my second year I was here, the city acquired that piece of land. So it's been a long time. I've been working on it for 4 months, and we're so close. It's a joy to me to see this building go down, believe me.
Okay, so, all right, thank you so much.
Council, is there a motion?
Motion to approve and send it to the full council with favor recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion to send to the full council with a favorable recommendation by Councilor Levy. It's been seconded by Councilor Rosario. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Councilors, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
There's been a motion to adjourn by
Second.
Councilor Rosario. It's been seconded by Councilor Levy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.